Hello and welcome to another week of Obscure and Dead Reviews. This week we are doing Kill Shelter and Antipole's A Haunted Place. I'm Azzy.
I'm Mouse.
And I am Ian.
Yeah, special guest Ian to join us here to review this album. Ian, you want to tell us a little bit about this album?
No. No. What would you like me to tell you about the album?
Well, just give us
a Kill Shelter and Antipole.
Yeah.
They're people that make music. One's more Darkwave, one's more cold wave.
Okay.
One's Norwegian, one's Glasgow for Edinburgh, excuse me.
All right. Well, Mouse is the expert considering that she just interviewed Pete Burns of Kill Shelter on Comedian After Dark, so I suppose it's better to have her introduce them.
Oh, sure, I guess. Okay. So Kill Shelter is Pete Burns, based out of Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, yeah.
And Karl Morten Dahl, out of Norway. And he does Antipole. And these two bands bring their signature sounds to this album and kind of become something completely new.
And magical.
Amazing. Magic.
I can't remember the last time two bands have put out a joint album, but I think it's very, I don't know how to describe it, but it's classic, unique, instant classic goth.
Right, because the whole album pulls from the traditions of goth, but it doesn't do it in a way that's repetitive. In fact, I think it kind of goes back to some of those like early 80s, but not in the Sisters of Mercy way, but in the spirit of it, not in the sound necessarily of it, where it's pulling some of these more like Darkwave elements into this very guitar and, oh my God, bass driven music.
Yeah, they created quite an interesting blended fusion between these sounds, and I kind of wish more bands were heading in that direction.
Yeah, we were kind of saying how this album should be where goth rock is now. We need more of this.
Definitely.
We need more.
Something that innovates on the traditions of the past rather than emulates them.
Exactly. It's not very easy to do.
No.
Not very easy to do. To be inspired by, but not copy.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have here is an 8-track album. It's 38 minutes long. I'll say it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yep. And this is on Manic Depression, who, we're unsurprised that it's on Manic Depression, because this is... I love Manic Depression records. They also have bands like Je T'aime, and Manic Depression also put out, I believe it was them, the what is it? The French death rock band, the Black Tits, but it's in French and I can't remember what the French is, and it's so good. They're weird and I love them, and I'm getting way off topic.
Manic Depression also put out Fall Shock, which I love.
Ooh, yes.
Yes. So
and they did Blind Dylan. Sorry, I just pulled it up. I'm getting distracted. I love this label. Anyway, go on.
Don't go shopping.
Okay, let's talk about the fact that this is released on 3 different outlets through Bandcamp, both bands plus the label. Mm-hmm. And I know, looking at least on Kill Shelter's Bandcamp, when I just looked, everything's sold out.
Right, they had to do a second run according to their electronic press kit. They had to do a second run because it sold out within 2 days of the pre-order going up, like the vinyl and the CDs.
So I don't know when this review is going to go up, but
Wednesday.
If you go to Manic Depression's website, you might be able to get a physical.
Oh, cool.
You might be able to.
I'm going to go ask my record store, my local record shop, to see if they can order a copy for me. Support small business. That's my deal there.
Yeah. So let's talk about this album. 8 tracks, Raise the Skies. This is one that they have, is it a lyric video or a full music video for?
Full music.
It was the first single that was released, and immediately blew me away because, you've got Pete's vocals, which, even though Kill Shelter's been around for a long time, you don't hear his vocals that often. He did do that track with Buzzcull, Bodies, and just that deep, smooth, velvety vocal, which we love. You definitely hear that here.
Yeah, Ian and I thought that Pete's vocals sound a little bit like Project Pitchfork.
And that caught me off guard.
Yeah. So I actually listened to that track and played Rain right after it, and the similarities and the structure and the vocals, I was blown away. But it's not a bad thing. I'm not like, oh, they copied this. Like they made this something completely different and new and on their own. But that was the best comparison that I could think of for it.
And so you think that just with the vocals, or you mean the music as well?
As everything, the arrangements of the instruments, the vocals. I mean, the project, they do a hell of a lot more synth than what's on this, because you've got the dueling guitars going, and but there's a lot of structural similarities to it.
And there are a lot of dueling guitars on this album.
Mm-hmm. And there, and I'm sitting here thinking about it. I was like, who's another act that I felt like is moving in that direction? And I feel like they took this to that next level, and that would be I Am the Shadow. That was the other one. That sound. So
I Am the Shadow's on Cold Transmission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they released their album. What was it? Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Pitch Black. Just a few months back.
Yeah. No, that was early 2020. So right before.
Really?
Yeah. It was like right at the beginning of the pandemic.
I honestly thought it was like 2 months ago.
It's those times right now where like days become years, become.
So track 2 on this album, Burn Bright. This is by far my favorite.
The slow intro with like the bell sounds before it just like goes
they put so much into this track, and great chorus, harmonizing vocals, a female vocal pops in.
Yep, Lindsey Burns,
thank you so much for your voice. It really balanced it out.
Right. So Mouse is talking about the dueling vocals, Ian's talking about the dueling guitars, and that was definitely something that was found throughout the album. And they kind of put this out there themselves, saying that the album really is a lot of contrasts of light and dark, and they do that in more than one way throughout the whole album.
Dueling guitars, yes, for sure.
I don't even know if I'd call it dueling. It was like complementary guitars more than like.
Well, they're alternating, so like you can hear the melody of one alternating with another, like one stops and the next one begins.
Contrasting.
Contrasting, yeah. That is not easy to write. And especially you also have the vocal melody, which doesn't, it provides air so that each one cycles and doesn't like mash on top of each other. And I know a lot of bands try to do layering, but then you have sounds that get discordant when they go on top of each other. Mm-hmm. But this is written, every single song on this is written in such a way that every melody balances between a guitar melody, a bass melody, and a vocal.
And that's, sorry, go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say, if you're going to say dueling, I would say it like DUAL instead of DUEL. So it's dueling guitars.
Yeah. Except that word doesn't exist, I don't think, but
it being perfectly mixed is unsurprising, given Karl Morten Dahl's and Pete Burns' body of work. They are both masterful. Absolutely masterful.
Yep.
But yeah, Burn Bright also has a music video that you can check out that just dropped, I don't know, a few weeks ago. So you can see Pete. I think Karl's in the video too. Not actually sure. But I know I saw Lindsay in there singing as well.
Let's see. It looks like it came out, like early March.
March,
on Yami Speshi's channel.
Yami!
Yeah.
We love Yami.
A So these tracks, well, I felt these were more like, of course, the 2 lead single tracks, right? And so they were like real bangers, but then you get to track 3 and it's A Kiss in the Rain, and it slows the album down a bit. But
I feel both track 3 and track 4 were in this vein.
Yes, and they had such beautiful driving bass lines
and
interesting rhythms.
And think about it, you're going from like the rain and then into the fire. But they're so there's that again, that duality there, that like soft and gentle, then
even notice that.
Right into the fire.
Wait, you're right. And then there's All for Nothing and The Edge of Reason. Makes sense? Doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, in the song Into Fire, if this makes sense with it being rain, one of the first lines in that track is another day spent drowning.
Nice. Yeah. I'm sure that they all like lyrically flow. You kind of get this sense of the melancholic, like you are, even like you're walking through cemeteries, and then you look at the album art and the name of the album, and it kind of gets you in this headspace.
So I just want to say I really like the album art.
I loved the album art.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. And that is actually just a photo that Pete Burns took in a cemetery in Edinburgh.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, I'm a sucker for any cemetery photo.
Yeah, that'll happen.
But yes, once you get through your slow ballads, the track 5, All for Nothing, bounces back in as like a little dancey jam. I love the vocal rhythm, of course, and the way that it alternates with the guitar melody. It's like this classic Darkwave goth sound. And this was the one that most felt to me like it could have been a song that came out in the 80s, made today.
Right.
Or better yet, in 30 years, a song like this would stand the test of time. And
I feel like
probably represent this
the test
era.
Of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where I first noted that it kind of reminded me a little bit of Clan of Zymox. And I was like, do I
I heard that more later, very specifically on a different track.
Well, the first hint was here, and then the very specifically Zymox I noticed on The Edge of Reason.
Oh, that's not the track I noticed it on.
No.
So which one did you notice it on? I'm curious.
Don't you dare say
Roses and Thorns.
Oh, no.
I love that track.
It's such a good track.
I'm not saying that.
That's
Why
my
are you
favorite.
guys acting like that's a bad thing?
It's a banger track.
It's the cadence of the lyrics, the way that they flow reminds me of specifically Jasmine and Rose.
No, okay. So I think that's just a mind trick. I thought it for like half a second, and then when I looked at the title of Roses and Thorns, and I realized that title reminded me of Jasmine and Rose, and then I started.
Oh, see, I got it from the music first, and then I was like, well, then you have the.
I don't agree.
That's fine, because for me,
I did feel that the Edge of Reason.
It's a classic Darkwave sort of delivery. But go on, Edge of Reason.
I'm sorry, the Edge of Reason. The chorus sounded very much like Clan of Zymox, and it sounded like something I had heard before in the Edge of Reason chorus. That doesn't diminish the songs in any way, but the freshness that we hear in the rest of the album that makes it stand out as stellar, in the Edge of Reason, it sounds like something we have actually heard before. And maybe we did.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because you keep, like, we've all said, like, oh, this reminds me of this and this reminds me of that. And it's like, it's not bad that it's reminding us of other things. They're taking those things that we like and they're pushing it to a next level or to a different.
Right, because you kind of have to have that kind of touched under the familiar to resonate with an audience. It's just kind of because it's, it's where you come from and it's where your audience comes from. And then you want to push for something new from that.
And Clan of Zymox released an album last year, and they borrowed from their predecessors.
Yeah.
That were inspired by them.
I wish that album was better.
Yeah.
I was okay with the album.
Oh, it was okay.
I play it in my streams.
Are you talking about Zymox now?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry,
That's another review.
We're reviewing a band we've already reviewed and got hate for.
Yeah. Clan of Zymox was my favorite Darkwave band until 2020 when they put out that album, and I was just like, I've heard better. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard better. I've heard better right here between Kill Shelter and Antipole.
And by the way, this track 7 of Roses and Thorns.
That's my favorite track.
Neck and neck with Burn Bright as my favorite.
Oh, Burn Bright just has that beautiful intro, but
Tell Us Why of Roses and Thorns is amazing.
It's just so...
It's beautiful.
There is
beautiful and melancholy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's like some kind of wailing chorus. And it is a bop.
Is this the track where we couldn't figure out if it was a heavily modulated guitar?
That was it. Synth? That was the one. We were like, is this a synth or a guitar? And
we also felt that with the next track.
Yeah, but this one specifically, because I was like, wow, this is a banger song, and it just, I don't know, the lyrics, the comp is like the way the instruments were put together. It was like, this is beautiful. I'm here for it.
I don't hear Clan of Zymox, but I love this song.
It's fine. That's fine.
So I'm sure that everybody who listens to this, if you like goth rock, post-punk, dark wave, if you like music that has brought you here, you will love this album. Mm-hmm. Those tracks especially, and then, of course, the album closes with a beautiful ballad, Every Waking Hour. It's haunting and drifting, and then that female vocal comes back in.
Lindsay Burns.
Yeah.
And all she has to say is every waking hour. And it's just like chills. I get chills. I love it so much.
It's definitely like made 2021 a better year for having this album in it.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, no, when this album was announced, I lost my shit. I was so excited because I love Kill Shelter. I love everything Pete Byrne touches. I love Antipole. I love everything that Karl touches. Just when I found out that they were collaborating together, and they met in 2019 at the Cold Transmissions Festival.
Yes.
Yeah. When I found that out, I seriously lost my shit, and I was so fucking
I actually
excited.
thought it was just going to be a one-off track when we got Raised to
not a full album.
I was like, what? There's going to be a whole album? My brain can't even.
It's funny because I was just talking to somebody about that. Like, it's kind of like wild when bands run into each other, and it's like, I'm a fan of you and I'm a fan of you, and
something magic
let's collab
happens.
Right? And then like fucking magic. Can I say that? Can I say the F word?
Yeah, you can say fuck.
All right.
We're not monetized.
All right. So when magic happens like that, it's pretty it's spectacular, and that's really cool that all came together like that.
Right.
So
right. So I think that kind of sums up the album. Pete, thank you so much for sending us a promo copy of the album to listen to. And everyone listening, if you have not gone and seen the Christian Death listen to the Christian Death remix that Kill Shelter did, you should go check it out. It uses original stems, and oh shit, what track is it? It's Spectre Love is Dead.
Yes.
Kill Shelter remix.
Cool.
Yeah. And
is it on Kill Shelter's page?
No, it's on Christian Death's page.
Huh.
We'll include a link to it down below in the description. It's great. It takes a song and pays this really interesting homage to it in a way that is like everything fresh, and it kind of has like a little bit of like I think more of an EBM vibe, but not in a bad way, but in a way that Azzy likes.
And I like.
If that helps.
And there's an extended mix.
Yes.
See, and I know Mouse and I, we're okay with EBM. So It's all right.
I'm just really picky. What can I say? I'm just really, really picky. I know what I like. I don't tell anybody they can't like what they like because it doesn't match what I like, but I know what I like.
Hey, I make no bones that I'm not the biggest death rock fan, but it's okay, and I know there's stuff I like from it, so I feel you. I understand.
Make sure to go support Kill Shelter and Antipole and Manic Depression Records. If you go to Bandcamp, all three of them have a page, and buy the album from anywhere.
Yes, and now that you've listened to us rant and rave about it, go listen to the album too. It's also on Spotify. It's everywhere. Everywhere fine albums are sold. Yes. Come back and tell us what you think of it. I'd be very interested to hear really anyone's thoughts, but especially someone who hates this album. I would love to know why. Yeah.
Constructive criticism is fun.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. So, that being said, thank you for joining us. We have an OUVC again on this Friday. We're still running it, even though things are slowly starting to open back up. Our guest this week is, I always
Dweez.
Get his...
Is it Dweez?
No, not
Dweez.
Dweez.
Is next week.
Dweez is next week.
Okay.
Well, I have to ask Dweez.
We haven't asked him yet, but he's next week.
I always forget his name. It's DJ Fact 50. And he has this really interesting style. One time I watched one of his streams and he did a stream of tangos from movies. Like cartoon movies The Pebble and the Penguin and All Dogs Go to Heaven, and it was like these like villain tangos. It was so fun.
Villain tangos.
Cool. Yeah.
Did he follow it up with some like squirrel nut zippers?
No, it was just villain tangos, and it was so much fun. And it's gonna be fun. I don't know what he's gonna do this week, but it'll be fun either way, and we're excited to have him on. Wednesdays we have OUFM, our new music radio, except for when we decide, let's just play weird 80s.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
And I'll try to get another Vamp Daddy Bites music video reaction in. Yeah. I'm going to work on that.
Sounds great. So now that we're at the end of it, we would like to thank our lovely Patreon supporters. Ooh. Yes, Ian?
I will do a music video reaction because I haven't watched, I haven't watched Burn Bright, so I could do that.
Oh, perfect.
So
nice.
Nice. All right, so look out for Vamp Daddy Bites with Burn Bright. Ooh, that rhymed. So anyway, as I was saying, we would like to thank our lovely Patreon supporters and also our Twitch subscribers who help make these episodes possible. You keep us in music and equipment and all of the other tools that we need to do this bullshit. Like, click subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.